Hello everyone. It is Teresa from Teresa's Spot for Art, where I love sharing art from my heart and teaching you how to create a little joy in your life through some fun, simple, and quick art projects. We are working on September's 5-minute flowers, and we are starting with the Columbine today. So I'm going to turn you guys around and we will get started. Okay, I have out my little card. I have out my palette for all the 5-minute flowers we're working on today. All we need is 2 greens, a light and a dark, and red and white. I have out my favorite brushes from my favorite brush pack. Let me grab the pack real quick for you because I have it handy. This is my favorite brush pack. It is a value pack. It is from Plaid Flokart, and it comes with 10 brushes. And these are the brushes that I use most. I use a number 12, a 3/4, a number 16, a filbert brush, which does not come in this pack, and then a liner, which you can see is a little wonky, but I love it. Okay, so we are using the number 12 today. I have out my red and white paint. I am going to put a little bit of pressure on my brush and load my fibers with some red paint. If you've been following my 5-minute flowers, it is rare that I do not double load my brush with 2 different colors of paint, and this is one of those times. Okay, I'm going to just make a little dot so I can eyeball where the center of my flower is going to be. Again, we are working on the Columbine. Okay, I'm going to stand my brush up. I'm going to apply a little bit of pressure, stand it up to a point, apply a little bit of pressure again, and come back down. Now, when we paint on cardstock or paper, sometimes I like to use a little bit of this floating medium. It helps my brush move a little bit more on the paper. All I did was dip my brush into a little bit of it. Okay, so we're going to do the next stroke. So I'm going to stand my brush up on the chisel edge. I'm going to apply a little bit of pressure, stand up again, apply a little bit of pressure, and meet back where I started. The Columbine gets 5 petals to begin with. The Columbine is actually 2 layers. Okay, put a little bit more paint on my brush. I'm going to stand it up. I'm going to come out, stand up again, apply some pressure, come back in. And I'm always turning my paper around. So I'm basically doing the stroke the same way every time, but I turn my surface. Stand up, push out, come down, and in. Okay, that is the first layer. I'm going to make that little point a little better. Okay, now I'm going to come back to my palette, and I'm going to put one corner in some white. And I'm going to come to my runway, red, white. Now I basically have like a pinkish here on my brush. Okay, and now in between each of our flowers, we're going to make a different, each of our petals, we're going to make a different petal. We want our white to the outside. I'm still focusing on the middle, and I'm just going to make like an upside down U or an N stroke. Pick up a little bit of white, pick up a little bit of red, white to the outside, standing up. I'm going to push my brush up. I'm going to come around with the outside and then stand up again. This is basically the 5-petal flower, which I have taught before in here. Again, stand up, come around, and come back in. And you see I'm putting it in the middle of each of the original petals that we did. Stand up, put a little bit of pressure, come around, stand up again, and then push my brush out, a little bit of pressure. I ran out of paint there, so I'm going to just a little dip in white. And there we go. So that is the 2 layers of our petals for our Columbine. Now I'm just going to use the back of my brush. I'm going to stick it in my bright green and put in a little center there. Now we're done with our number 12 for now. I'm going to go to my liner brush. When I use my liner brush, I like to dip it in a little bit of water. And I'm going to come to the side of my yellow ochre. And I'm going to just roll my liner brush in the side of my yellow ochre right here. I want to twist my brush between my thumb and my forefinger. I want to have a nice point. And now I'm going to just add a few little dabs, strokes, pulls. I think these are called stamens. And I'm just pulling out from the middle. Let me get a little bit closer for you. How's that? Much better? Okay. I'm going to clean my brush. And I'm going to pick up a little bit of white. And I'm just going to tap in some white to the tips of my stamens. And there is our Columbine. If you want to add a leaf, I'm going to double load my number 12 brush with my greens. Put it on my runway here. Pick up a little bit of this floating medium. You can't see it because it's clear on my plate. All I did was dip my brush in that little puddle right there. It just helps my paint move like warm butter on my surface. I'm going to put a stem. And now I'm going to add one of my leaves. So we're going to come up and back down and in. Pick up dark green. Then I'm going to come up again, out, stand up to a point, and come back in. Dark, light, fix my brush. I'm going to come up to a point and come back down. Dark, light. And then we're going to work our way down, up to a point, down, and then up to a point, and down. And there's our leaf. I could do another one on the other side. Thanks for joining me for the Columbine. Keep practicing, you guys. See you soon. Hello, hello, hello. It is Teresa from Teresa's Spot for Art, where I love sharing art from my heart and teaching you how to create a little joy in your life through some fun, simple, and quick art projects. Welcome to September's 5-minute flowers. We are working on the Morning Glory. Don't get frustrated or upset. Morning Glory is a little bit of an advanced flower. It does take some practice, but I'm going to turn you guys around. I'm going to show you the steps. Okay. Usually I do the flower first, and then I will fill in the green or the leaf or the vine or the foliage, whatever it is. This time I'm going to start with my green because Morning Glories grow on a vine. So I'm just going to add in here a few vine, okay? Then I'm going to take my green paint and I'm just going to add a few simple leaves. I'm using my number 12 brush. I'm holding it on an angle. And I'm pushing up into the angle. Again, I'm holding it on an angle. I'm pushing it on a diagonal. And I'm standing up again on the angle. Same thing on this side. Push, slide, stand up. Push, slide, stand up. And then we can fix our brush. I'll move this over here. Fix our brush. We don't want any bedhead. And I'm going to add in stems to every one. Let's put one more leaf up there and add a stem. Okay? Now I have the perfect spot to put my Morning Glory. I'm going to wipe off my brush. Give it a rinse. Get this out. I like to squeeze my brush dry. Yes, I'm using this rag. I don't want, when I hold my brush upright, if there's water in the metal part of your brush, when you hold it upright, it'll drip out. We don't want that. Okay, so I'm going to come over here. I have this Keepsake Rose and white, and I'm going to double load my brush. One corner in the Keepsake Rose, one corner in the white. If I need a little floating medium, I'll just tap my brush into it. You don't need a lot. It just helps your brush and your paint glide on cardstock and paper, because cardstock and paper tends to draw all the moisture out of your paint. Okay, I'm going to keep the white away from me and up. I'm going to make like an upside down U. I'm going to stand up. I'm going to apply a little bit of pressure to my brush as I sweep under, and I'm going to stand up again to the chisel edge. See that U in there? I'll show you again. White to the outside, stand up on my chisel edge, apply a little bit of pressure, flare out my fibers, and then come around and stand up again. Okay? And then I'm going to wash my brush. That is like the little cup that holds our Morning Glory flower in place. That's where our birds and bees and hummingbirds like to go in and get the nectar. Then I'm going to load my brush with blue and white. Over here on my runway, dip again in my floating medium just to help my paint and my brush glide. Blue and white. Okay. Now we're going to add our, I'm going to start with the bottom one. Now we're going to add our petals. Actually, yeah, let me start here. So we want to see the cup, and we want our blue petals to come about halfway over the cup. So I'm going to start standing up. I'm going to dip in and up, in and up. Okay? Pick up some blue, pick up some white. We're going to meet here again. I'm going to dip in. Oh, need a little bit more paint. And maybe some floating medium. Okay? Stand up. So I'm going to dip in and dip in. See, I'm going a little bit like that with my brush. I'm going to come up here now. I'm going to dip in and dip in. Blue, white, and then the last one, dip in and dip in. Okay? Now I'm going to take my white. I want to put a little bit of a smile in here and cover up. If my petals don't meet. So I'm just putting in a little bit of white in here into the middle. Okay? Then I'm going to take the blue, make sure my chisel edge is really nice on my brush, and I'm going to put in these lines to segment between each of my petals. Okay? I'm going to wash my brush. I'm going to go back to my liner brush. I'm going to pick up a little bit of the Keepsake Rose and a little bit of white on my brush. And I want to come in here where the smile is. And then I'm going to pull in, again, these little stamens. If you want more rose, pick up some more rose. And they're coming out of the cup. And then last but not least, I'm going to stick my brush in some yellow. The back of my brush, the handle of my brush. Put a dot in there for the center. And there is our beautiful Morning Glory. Again, this is an advanced technique. There it is. But if you practice, I'm sure you can master the Morning Glory. See you next time. Hello, hello, hello everyone. It is Teresa from Teresa's Spot for Art, where I love showing art from my heart and teaching you how to create a little joy in your life through some fun, simple, and quick art projects. Welcome to 5-Minute Flowers, although this is going to be 5-minute fall leaves. Let me turn you around and we will get started. So yes, this is 5-minute flowers, but I'm going to show you how we're going to do fall leaves. I have out some yellow ochre, some I think this is Pueblo, and red. This is the palette I've been working on. I'm going to double load my brush in the ochre and the Pueblo to start with. I like a nice deep orange. Let me pick up a little bit. I'm going to make sure fresh floating medium. I like a nice deep orange when I'm doing fall. Nothing bright. I'm going to just dip in my floating medium and then come back to my little runway here. Okay. So a lot of these strokes are the same for the leaves. These are the same, but they're just so gorgeous when you make them in fall colors. Okay. So I'm going to stand my brush up. I'm just going to do a simple filler leaf. Stand my brush up, put a little bit of pressure, slide, and stand up again. I'm standing up, I'm applying a little bit of pressure, I'm sliding out, and I'm standing up to a point. And then I'm just going to add some stems. How cool is that? Okay. Now I'm going to take my orange, my yellow, and on my orange side, I'm just going to add a dab of red. Okay. So now I've actually triple loaded. And I'm going to do a wiggle leaf, but it's more rounded. I'm going to start on my chisel edge, and I'm making these rounded edges and then round up to the top. Okay, load my brush with orange, a little bit of red again, go back to my runway, and now I'm going to do the other side. I turn my surface upside down. I'm keeping my red or my dark color to the outside, and I'm going in rounded and then pulling a stem. I don't know if you guys saw that one. Let me try again because I wasn't watching. So I'm standing my brush up. This time I'll put the yellow to the outside so you can see how different it looks. I'm standing up. I'm making a curve, 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 curve. Oh, ran out of paint. So standing up, I keep coming back to the middle. I'm just making these loops and then curving at the top. Now I'm going to turn it upside down. I'm going to pick up my orange and my yellow and get a little bit of red on my orange if I want. This time I'm keeping the yellow to the outside, applying a pressure, curving out, curving out, curving out, and then stem. Okay. Then if you want to make an oak leaf, again, I have my yellow and my orange, tiny bit of red. Okay. This is a series of separate strokes, but they come together to make a beautiful leaf. So we're going to start at the top. Stand up, apply some pressure, come up to a point, and come back down. I'm going to go out to the side. Standing up on our chisel edge, come back to a point, and come back down. Pick up some more paint, a little dab of yellow, a little dab of orange. Again, standing up on our chisel edge, coming up to a point, and down. That's one side of our leaf. Let me fix my brush. We always want to have our brush with a nice chisel edge right there. If we start building up too much paint, we want to take it and wipe it off and start over with our load. Okay, so now I'm going to do the other side. I'm going to start in the middle, push out, and then come back. Yellow, orange, and then again, push out, stand up to the chisel edge, come back, and then last but not least, pull the stem. And those are our fall flowers. If you live in, let me turn yours around. If you live in the Northeast, you will get beautiful fall foliage in the fall. Not everyone gets these beautiful fall colors, but we do here. And it's the same leaf. You just change up the colors, use some reds, orange, and some yellows. Thanks for joining me, everyone. Have a great day.